Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Need a roof? Call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, Boatcock Brothers, Premium Cigars. Use the code MAT15, 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 15% off your order. Okay, y'all, today's the day. Lane Kiffin is meeting with Keith Carter this morning, the Ole Miss athletic director. I'm told that meeting is happening at 8:15 a.m., and they're supposed to have the conversation we've talked about here, where Keith Carter wants clarity from Lane on his plans, and Lane wants a plan from Keith Carter on NIL, et cetera, how they're going to exist in the new era, detailed plan. So that meeting will happen today, and then, we'll, I don't know if we'll have a definitive answer from Lane Kiffin today. As best I can guess is if, as I piece this together, if Lane decides he's going to stay, be that today or tomorrow or Sunday, whenever, I think they'll put the contract extension in front of him. He'll sign it. They'll announce it. I think they'd like to do that before Egg Bowl. If Lane decides he's going to leave, then I think Ole Miss wants him to coach in the Egg Bowl either way, because they need to win that game to assure themselves a playoff spot. And then they would announce after the Egg Bowl that Lane is leaving and Joe Judge would be the interim. I will editorialize. I'll give you my opinion. I don't know how, if he is leaving, that doesn't leak before next Friday, a week from today, with the Egg Bowl. If he leaves, that means he will have to have told Ole Miss that he's leaving and LSU that he's coming, and I just cannot imagine that news staying quiet for a week. So, I'm not telling you definitively today's the day we get an answer. I'm not saying that. I believe today is a big day, because I think today could be the day. If Lane stays, today could be the day we find out he's staying. But from an LSU perspective, if you want Lane Kiffin, hearing nothing is a good thing. That means he's more than likely leaning toward leaving. So again, that meeting with Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter is this morning at 8:15. So say your prayers. All right, let's say some good mornings, y'all. How about Whit Weeks probable to return? So every chump who said Whit Weeks was a quitter and opted out on his team and all that stuff, shut up. Don't bag on your own team. Give some people the benefit of the doubt. More, Matt. If Kiffin does come to LSU, get a Locked On episode with Stephen Willis so I can watch him cry as Ole Miss burns, and I do hope he cries. I probably won't do that. Trivia Carter, good morning. Tiger Diver, morning Scone, day 10 of Kiffin watch. No signs of ending anytime soon. I don't know about today. Today is a day where today will be a pivotal day. Because after today, I don't know what else Kiffin needs to consider. I know he would like to just kick the can down the road and continue coaching his team and make a decision after the season. But neither Ole Miss or LSU are going to allow him to do that. Hey, Brian, good morning from Wichita. Tiger Poppy, good morning. Hope you and the family have a great weekend. Same to you, man. Same to you. Good morning. I don't want Kiffin. I want Dan Mullen. Well, you're not getting Dan Mullen. At this point, and again, everything is always subject to change, but at this point, after Kiffin, Eli Drinkwitz is very much in play. I'm not excited about that, but I don't think many people would be. That'd be an expensive hire, too, for someone that's not very impressive. Kiffin, Drinkwitz, Dillingham, Summerall, and Blake Baker. I think that's your list. Ben Jam, what's going on? Bubba, good morning. Thomas, good morning. Mike, good morning. Let's see. Christopher, good morning. Happy Friday. Instead of planes and Realty Connection, should we be tracking new yoga memberships? Hoping a Lane, Kane Liffin, or Joey Freshwater joins BR. Hey, Dr. Trey, good morning. Hadley, good morning. Lame day? I think you mean lame day. But again, I don't know. I want to be clear. I don't know that I don't know that today is the day definitively we get an answer. I want to be very clear about that. But this meeting today is, I think, the final meeting that they need to have about exchanging information or whatever. Now, I think the real question for today is, does Keith Carter hold Lane's feet to the fire? He's been slow to do that to this point, but this may get to the point where where the Ole Miss side forces a decision on Lane. They've been slow to do that, but this could be the day that they do it. Scott, is Austin Thomason's role safe? No. So, of course, remember, Austin Thomas left Ole Miss to come to LSU, and that was a Scott Woodward hire. So, Scott no longer in place, and Lane's general manager that he hired to replace Austin is a guy named Billy Glasscock. And my understanding is, I can't wait to say that to Terrio today. My understanding is that if Lane comes to Baton Rouge, Billy Glasscock would be a non-negotiable. He would be coming as well. Plant Low, good morning. Does LSU get their swagger back today? Hope so. Eye of the Tiger, all aboard. Good morning, Matt. Could we a Kiffin decision today? Could. Again, just for those just joining and missed it, I'm told meeting between Lane and Keith Carter is at 8:15 this morning. If he is staying at Ole Miss, and I don't know that they like emerge from that meeting and Lane's like, I'm ready to sign an extension. But it could be today, it could be tomorrow, Sunday. I think Ole Miss would like, if he's staying, to have him sign his extension and announce it before the Egg Bowl, before Egg Bowl week starts. If he leaves, they would like to keep it quiet, let him coach the Egg Bowl, and then after the Egg Bowl, announce Lane is leaving, relieved of his duties, or however they want to say it, and they would promote Joe Judge to be the interim. And so I mentioned this in the Locked On podcast yesterday. I mentioned it at AFR. I actually had several Ole Miss people yesterday call me after AFR and say the beginning of your show, so like the first two segments of AFR yesterday, that is the best explanation. These are from Ole Miss people who said that is the best explanation of what's going on I've heard yet from anybody. So if you want to hear a very up-to-date, like concise version of go listen to the first two segments of AFR from yesterday. Let's see if here you go. Yeah, this. Here, I'll go post it in the chat. There you go. Day 24. Get ready, haters. Juan, morning. Been in Mexico all week for work last night. Got stuck in Dallas because of bad weather. Hoping to come home today, make that money. Get that money, dude. Thanks for being there, Juan. Safe travels, man. Hey, Keith, morning. Would you accept Coach O returning as D-line coach? Would be so great with multiple nannies. Yeah. I mean, look, Ed Ogeron is undeniably a great defensive line coach, a great recruiter. Absolutely. He just wasn't a great head coach. But yeah, if Lane wants him on staff and you bring Ed Ogeron with his love for LSU and good he is as a defensive line coach and as a recruiter, yeah. Yes. Lane Day. Christian, good morning. If all NIL deals have to be approved by the clearinghouse, won't they take forever to consider how many they have to review? So there's actually, if you look it up, I mean, that's been the question, right? Like, do they actually have the manpower to keep up? So, there have been some reports. I'm looking for one of them I can share with you, but there have been some reports about how the clearinghouse has gone, and they've actually kept up pretty well so far, and they've approved an overwhelming majority of deals. But that's the big question is sorry. The big question is whether or not that clearinghouse, like the concern is that this is a Lane concern too. The concern is that things revert to the way they were. You'd have bagmen, under the table payments, all that sort of stuff to circumvent the clearinghouse, and then it just goes back to the way that it was. That the powers that be are, the traditional powers, and I think that's one of the things Lane is fearful of. It's because you can't just do what they've done. Hey, let's fund the Grove Collective and go buy a roster. You just can't do it anymore that way. They've made it more complicated. So, Dale, good morning. Is GameCoin profitable? I guess it depends on the individual and when you bought. If you bought GameCoin tokens, when you bought. As far as the company as a whole, that's a question for David Mailer. But again, that would probably depend on who invested what. Clayton, morning. Big day, just another stepping stone. Today's a big day, but it is. I'm not saying it's the final day, but it is a significant day in the path of finding out what Lane is going to do. Here you go.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
All right. Remember, if you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. If you need a roof, call Parish. All of our sponsors linked in the description on YouTube. Get them tagged on Facebook. Everybody's scrolling here at the bottom as well. So if you forget who they are, really appreciate it if you would patronize our great sponsors. Where am I? Ooh, man. 530 people watching Morning Scone. Kelly, good morning. Joey, has LSU set up any next coach not named Kiffin for disappointment for the fans? I don't know that I would say that. I don't know that there's like this unanimous feeling that everybody wants Lane Kiffin. But he is the big name, and he would bring a lot of excitement. He would inject a lot of juice. And I'll tell you the other part of this too. Like Lane's a great coach and all that stuff, and I think he would make LSU better. You would also weaken Ole Miss, and you play Ole Miss every year as part of the new scheduling agreement. And I mean, the home teams won the last 6 in that series. So, I mean, they beat you 3 of the last 6 years. I mean, I'd like for them to go back to not being good. I mean, Ole Miss has won 50 games over the last 5 years. Only Alabama and Georgia have won more. I'd like for them to go back to like the Matt Luke days. It'll be terrible again, please. Hey, Patrick, good morning. Joined day off with coffee as always. Taking my son to his first Saints game Sunday. All right, Miss Saints Falcons. That'll be a good one. Tyler Shuck. Let's go. Dustin can't shake the feeling Lane is setting LSU fans up for the biggest troll ever. He's definitely not trolling. I've seen some of that to say that it's posturing. He's just trying to leverage LSU and Florida for a better deal at Ole Miss. I mean, he already has an offer on the table at Ole Miss that is that making the highest paid coach ever. By the way, the other thing I should have mentioned today. So there's two big meetings today. You have the Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter meeting at 8:15 this morning. The LSU Board of Supervisors meeting today is at 9:15, and so the agenda is made public. Although the meeting is going to be held in executive session, so it's not open to the public or to the media. But I did share on social a screenshot of the agenda for today's meeting, and it's Brian Kelly's buyout is what they're discussing. So maybe we have some movement or finality on Brian Kelly's buyout today. And then also, although it's not on the agenda, I was told yesterday that they are very likely to discuss the formal contract offers for potential head coaches, including Lane Kiffin, and then whoever else is next, say Eli Drinkwitz. So that way they are empowered to, the Verge would be empowered to formally hire somebody with board approval, your contract terms approved. Hey, Dad, good morning. Billy, good morning. Maybe clarity today, maybe not. We'll see. It's been a ride. Hey, Dax, good morning. For old time's sake, does Sophia have a pick on who the next LSU coach will be? I don't know, and I need to ask her. I miss my fam. During football season, I go really into a cocoon. So, when I love when the holidays come because I get to see my family again. We spend so much time together in the spring and the summer, and pool days and vacations and all kind of stuff. And then fall rolls around, and I exist in a cocoon for 3 months, and I don't see anybody. So, yeah, I'm excited to see everybody around the holidays. Thanksgiving next week, and then get into the holidays and Christmas parties and stuff. It'll be fun. Hey, Dustin, good morning. Brian, good morning. Do you see a scenario where Coach O comes to LSU with Lane? I don't know, so that report yesterday that about Coach O, that's nothing new. I mean, Coach O was actually a guest with Mike Detillier on his radio show last week and said he'd come back. I mean, O is trying to work again. So he sat on the sidelines until his buyout was finished. Well, his buyout gets finished. I think the last payment to Ogeron is December. So it's next month. So his buyout is expiring. I think he's ready to coach again. He needs to make money. So, so I think you're hearing all the Arkansas, Oregon State stuff, and I think he is interested, but I think that's all agent driven. I don't think any of that's coming from those schools. I don't think anyone's going to hire Ed as a head coach. And I do believe he would come back to LSU to work as a defensive line coach under Lane Kiffin. Of course he would. I don't know if Lane would hire him. I don't know that they would retain Kyle Williams. If Lane takes the job at LSU, I do believe Pete Golding would come as his defensive coordinator. But I think a lot of the defensive staff would probably be retained. I think Corey Raymond would be retained. I'll say a lot of the defensive staff, maybe not actually, but none of the national media people are talking about the Austin Thomas portion of this. Is this something to consider? From what, like, Scott, I don't think Austin. I don't know this for 100% certainty. What I know is that from Lane's side is that his GM at Old. Remember Austin left Lane to come to Baton Rouge. You can ask yourself why. And his GM over there, Billy Glasscock, would be coming with him. So is there a coexisting role? Is Austin not retained? I think a lot of people, here's my point. A lot of people assuming that Austin Thomas would be a pull for Lane. I don't think that's the case. Let me say it that way. I don't think that's a factor that would weigh in Lane picking LSU. Quentin, good morning. DH Bossy, good morning. Let's see. The committee is probably going to punish Ole Miss if he leaves. There is that possibility, which is why, and I explained this yesterday on Locked On and on AFR, that after Florida State in 2023 with the Jordan Travis injury, the committee principles, as they're stated on what they consider in choosing the teams, they are allowed to consider if players or coaches are not with the team anymore, like because of injuries or a coach leaving, that could have affected the regular season and could affect their performance in the postseason. So yes, like the committee could look at Ole Miss and punish them for Lane not being there. Now, it's unlikely they would do that if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State and they're 11-1. It could happen if they lose to Mississippi State. They're 10-2. They're a borderline at-large team, and then Lane leaves. That could knock them out. That's why I think from the Ole Miss perspective, it's very important that they win the Egg Bowl, and why they want Lane to stay and coach through the Egg Bowl. I mean, they want him to stay forever, but it's why they're hoping if you're playing this out, and there's a lot of people that just joined us, thanks for watching. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. If Lane is going to stay, if out of this meeting today decides he's going to stay, I think Ole Miss would quickly get his extension in front of him. He would sign it, and they would announce he's staying. I think they would like to do that probably sometime this weekend before they start Egg Bowl prep, if he's staying. If you don't hear of Lane signing an extension, I think that's a really good indicator that he plans to leave. And at that point, I think the story would leak, because while they would like to keep it, I'm telling you from Ole Miss's perspective, they would, if he's leaving, they would like for him to coach this week, coach the Egg Bowl, and then after the Egg Bowl, announce Lane a parting of ways and promote Joe Judge as the interim coach for their postseason run. Now I'm editorializing, giving you my opinion. I don't think it gets that far, because it would leak. Too many people know too much. Good morning. I think Summerall will be a better coach. He's my first choice. I love John Summerall. And I'm going to tell you what's going to make me really sad. If LSU hires Lane Kiffin, which would be great, and John Summerall goes to Ole Miss or Auburn or Florida, which would probably happen, I'll be really bummed about that. Patrick, why is it called the Egg Bowl? Trophy shaped like an egg. Jay Harp, morning. Heard one of y'all shows that if Lane came, Austin Thomas was going to have to leave. Why would that be? Yeah, again, I don't think I just answered this, but I don't think a lot of people have considered why Austin Thomas left Ole Miss. Right? He left Ole Miss for LSU. He left Lane. And he was a Scott Woodward hire. Like Brian Kelly didn't hire Austin. Scott Woodward hired Austin Thomas to put that role in place. Well, Scott Woodward's gone now. Brian Kelly's gone. Austin left Lane. Look, I think the world of Austin Thomas. I mean, I've told you all that for years. I think he's so smart and brilliant and good at what he does. And I was actually talking literally last night, to a very, very prominent LSU booster. I mean, one of the guys that's on like the single digit list. And he didn't even bring it up to me. I mean, I didn't bring up. He brought up to me Austin Thomas, like how impressive Austin is. Remember last offseason they went up to Seattle to like sort of shadow the Seahawks and their organization, and how they have like their charts and their rosters and their values. I mean, like Austin's really smart, man. He is. I think the world of him, and I would hate to see him go, but. I'm telling you, a lot of LSU fans are assuming that's a draw for Lane. I do not think that is the case. I do not think that is the case. And I think Lane, if he came, would be bringing his GM from Ole Miss, Billy Glasscock. Hey, Tavanka De Silva, good morning. Let's see. Nobody wants to watch Lane Kiffin less Ole Miss in the play. Connor's telling everyone Lane bought a house. I can guarantee you, I do know this for certainty, that he did not buy a house. I do know, I can with absolute certainty tell you Lane Kiffin did not buy a house in Baton Rouge yesterday. Big day for all these schools. Can't wait for one or the other. Scott, good morning. Brian, was Dan Mullen on staff when Saban was at LSU? No, Dan Mullen's never been on staff at LSU. Lassiter, good morning. Happy Friday. Lane should tell him, I tell you at the end of the season, he's holding all the cards. Yeah, but if you do that, and I think he would like to do that, the problem is that everyone needs to know because the cycle is continuing. And they're not going to wait. I mean, Ole Miss, if he's leaving, needs to hire a coach. And like, for example, Ole Miss, I know, would have very strong interest in John Summerall. Well, Auburn reportedly is courting John Summerall. And if you're Ole Miss and you wait to the end of the season and Lane Kiffin leaves and John Summerall's already taken a different job, now you don't get your top choice. So that's why. And then same goes for LSU. Like, you need an answer because the coaching carousel, that cycle is spinning. And let's say Drinkwitz is at the top of your list after Kiffin. He's not at the top of my list, but let's say he's at the top of the list after Kiffin. Well, Florida reportedly and Penn State reportedly have interest in Drinkwitz as well. And I know, I've told you this before, that Cam Newton is pushing Drinkwitz at Auburn. Drinkwitz was Cam's quarterback coach when they won the national championship, and Cam is pushing Drinkwitz at Auburn. Now, I don't think that's the guy at the top of John Cohen's list. And my understanding is John Cohen is trying to push DJ Durkin as a defensive coordinator on whoever he hires. That's slowed that a little bit. But anyway, all that to say, I know Lane wants to wait to make a decision because he wants to coach his team to the playoff. I'm just telling you that's not plausible. I don't know if Lane is it. Hang on, a couple of these before I got to go. Morning, Matt. If you got the LSU job, what would be your number one priority as the new coach? Find a quarterback for next year. An elite level starting quarterback with experience. Sasquatch. Matt, I know you're not perfect. Listening to your show during times like this always lets me know everything is going to be okay, Lane. Thank you. Was that a backhanded compliment? I don't know. All right, I got to go. All right, y'all have a great day. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Facebook, like the page, share the post. All of our sponsors, they scroll here at the bottom. See their graphics here. Got them linked on YouTube. We appreciate y'all for being here. Have an awesome day.